You are now listening to the Minority Trailblazer Podcast. Season 2, new intro, let the story begin.
One time for the lovers, 2 times for the ladies, 3 times for the brothers, 4 times for the babies. Do you love her? 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 1 time for the lovers, 2 times for the ladies, 3 times for the brothers, 4 times for the babies. Do you love her? 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 Brown skin, love her brown skin, love her brown. Brown skin, love her brown skin, love her brown. She my brown skin, love her brown skin, love her brown. She my brown skin, love her brown skin. Hold me down.
Welcome to the Minority Trailblazer Podcast, and I'm your host, Greg E. Hill, the Culture Change Agent. On this show, we interview young, successful minorities in a variety of fields to educate, empower, and inspire our current and future generation leaders. And man, as y'all always know, I got a show for you today. This is season 2 of the podcast. You know I'm excited. And if you're an entrepreneur, you're in public relations, or you just like great conversations, then I got a show for you. All right. Today's featured guest is a graduate of Morgan State University, a full-time entrepreneur, owner of a very own public relations company, as well as the creator of Women Who Hustle. She started her public relations company about 9 years ago and has worked with some of the top talent in music and film, including Spike Lee. I'm talking T.I., Meek Mills, Big Boy, Tika Sumpter, Marsha Ambrosius, and many more. I mean, she is passionate about motivating others, especially our women, and assisting those in finding out what their purpose is in life. I mean, she currently works with entertainment and lifestyle blogger KMWExclusive.com, Miss Black USA, R&B artist Ellis Lambert, woman entrepreneur Latanya Taylor, author and life coach Teresa Murphy, and handles PR consulting with new artists and small businesses. I don't even know. That's a lot of people she manages working with. It's crazy. And in September 2015, she's gained the title of VP of Marketing for the Women Alliance in Media, the DC chapter, and became an author of the PR Puzzle in November 2015. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my sister, my black girl, man. I'm talking about, I'm excited. Y'all know I'm excited. Candice Nicole to the Minority Trailblazer Podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Wow, what an introduction.
Wow. It's your introduction, so this ain't nothing new. And honestly, I looked at your website. You have many more pages and pages of stuff, so I'm glad you sent me the abridged copy.
Right. Yeah, I said, let me send over this short bio because it really narrows down, specifically who I'm working with right now, and, and some of the, the accolades, because it is a long list, 9 years. So.
9 years in the game, man. So we just going to jump right into it. So if you're new to this show, our show is broken up into 3 parts. We talk about the past of our guests, kind of who makes them, because a lot of the guests we bring on our show, they have their own audience, they have their own niche, but we want to share with our audience, and honestly, their own niche, kind of who they really are. Then the next portion, we have the present, so to kind of see what are they doing, what does a day like look for them, and all that good stuff, as well as we give actionable advice that you the listener, can take and apply to your everyday life. And in the last round, we talk about the future, because I'm a big proponent of course, you got to stay in the moment, but you also got to plan for the future. So that's a big thing. And the final round, the most exciting round, is the Culture Change Rapid Fire round, where we ask a series of 5 questions and pick the audience brain. So, y'all know me. Season 1, I'm a huge quote guy. I wake up every morning at 3:30 or 4:30 a.m. and I send quotes out to over 100 people. So as we started off, please, Candice, can you share with us a quote, your favorite quote, and share also a story on how you apply that quote to your everyday life?
Okay, so that's a great question because I actually love quotes all the time. I make memes of quotes that I come up with, or I either find on Instagram or Pinterest or even Facebook. And I will share a quote that I'm really applying to my life, like right now, like in this very moment. Let's just say this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's always so much stuff that's going on in my life. But I found this quote and I shared it with my network the other day. It's by Oprah Winfrey. All hail Mama Oprah. She's amazing. I think a lot of people look at her as like a mentor in their head. But the quote is, "You get in life what you have the courage to ask for." That's a big one. I'll say it again for anyone that might have missed it. You get in life what you have the courage to ask for. In a nutshell, for me, that really just means a closed mouth does not get fed. And if you expect something to come into your life, you have to speak up. You have to use your voice. You have to have that courage deep down and dig up that courage that is there. I know some people are shy, but it's there. Pray about it, and it will come out. Because no one knows what you want unless you do open up your mouth, right, and use that courage to speak up about what you want. And a story that will go behind that is, I would just say, of what I have put out in the universe recently. I'm a huge a believer of, you have to put certain things out in the universe because you never know who may be able to assist you on making that happen, right? And why should I keep it all in my head? No one knows what I want, or just even in conversation with my mom or my friends or whatever. And I share with my mom that, Mommy, I want to one day arrive at the airport, and my name is going to be on that, on the piece of paper, and it's going to have my name on it.
I used to see all those black cars. You're like, when it like, dude, who, how cool? How much that cost? Like, where they come from? Like, what do they do? Where are they going? Yeah,
exactly. And that means that you have a private car service that's set up for you. And I said, there should be no reason why I don't have that. I want that in my life. And it just so happened that actually happened about, I guess, last week. I was in LA, and actually Warner Brothers, they're phenomenal. They provided car service for my client and I. And here I am, I get off the plane, and I go to the baggage claim area, and there is, a man standing there. His name was Alejandro, and it says Candice Nicole. And I said, please don't throw that away. I said, I'm having a little moment. I said, and I definitely want to take a picture of it. I didn't care how anyone thought about it, because that was a personal moment for me of seeing my first and my middle name, as people, know me as Candice Nicole, on that card, because we had this Mercedes-Benz waiting for us, private car service. So how you tie that back into the quote is that I truly believe if I was not vocal about what I saw in my vision, that may not have had come true. So basically, have the courage, talk about what you want, and put it out there in the universe, and it will happen. It's inevitable. It will.
I love it. Of course, and we're gonna get into it. It can happen, but you know about that hard work, that grind, that hustle, that PR life. So you can, so we're gonna get into that grit. So for people that even if you could share behind Candice Nicole, the PR, the 9 years in the game, and you work with some of the greats in music and film and a lot of different arenas. Take us back to where it all started. Can you walk us through kind of who you are before all this, and share with us a little bit about your journey?
Sure. Let's see. How far do you want me to go back?
I mean, yeah, you can start kind of where you were born and maybe some highlights, but you don't got to take us from like 0 to I'm just gonna say it 25. You don't got to take us all there, but you can hit the highlights.
Okay, well, I guess I'll take you guys. Okay, so born in DC, raised in Montgomery County. did all, my school, elementary, middle, high school in Montgomery County. It was phenomenal experience in school. If I could go back, have a week in high school, I would do it, even
You would
at
do
this
that?
age too. Yeah, I loved it.
Like
I loved it.
what would you specifically want to do in the high school bang? I'm interested. Like what
It was just going about my free life.
the
I guess
carefreeness,
you
like
could
there's no
say.
bills, there's no nothing, you just living.
Exactly. I had amazing friends. My classes were great. I liked my teachers, and I had a great time. I hear so many horrible stories that people are like, "Oh, I hated high school. It was the worst experience, worst 4 years of my life." And I'm like, "Wow, really? I absolutely loved my high school." But I'm taking it back there because I always said that I wanted to be in entertainment, but I just didn't know in what capacity. I knew I loved the glitz and the glamour. I just didn't know what capacity. So I'll just leave that there. I knew that I would be in the entertainment industry. I just didn't know how I would be in the entertainment industry, what I would do. And graduated high school, and then went to Morgan State University, HBCU, in Baltimore, Maryland, and actually started off as a photographic media major. I took some photography classes, black and white, in high school. Fell in love with it, head over heels. Had my own camera, did the art shows. I loved it, and I wanted to be this. I figured out, you know what? This is how I'm going to be in the entertainment industry. I'm going to be a celebrity photographer. And my niche was just going to be black and white.
So okay.
At the time, I think people were, getting into like the digital side of cameras. And for the longest, I was like, nope, I want my manual camera. I
Old school.
want to have to fix the lighting on there, my shutter speed. I didn't want anything to do with a digital camera, to be honest with you. And quickly got into that major and saw that I had to take too many art classes. I'm definitely a lover of art, but I'm not the best drawer. And you had to take a lot of those classes. I just wanted to be pointed in the direction of the black room so I could develop my my pictures, but it wasn't going to be like that. So I went back to the catalog and I said, okay, let's do communications. And I said, oh, let's do public relations. I can do that in a lot of different areas. If it was hospitality, music, if I want to do politics, it would be public affairs. I could do it wherever. And it just so happened that was my passion. I found my passion. It was my second semester, I'm going to say, at Morgan as a freshman. That's where I found my passion. And I graduated in 2007 and I just started my company. I didn't look up.
Like right after you graduated.
Yeah. I graduated May 2007. I started my business in June. And my friend from high school, she was a singer. And we decided we were going to go to Love Nightclub. Anyone that's tuning in the DC area who traveled to DC before to Love Nightclub.
Yep.
And I said, okay. Oh, and then between that time, I was waiting to graduate because Morgan didn't have a winter graduation. I was promoting. So I was a promoter. So, I could get us into all the happening parties, knew the club owners, managers, and so on. And so I said, okay, so DMX was in town. I said, all right, we're going to go to Love. And I said, you're the singer and I'm your publicist. That's exactly what I said to her. And we kind of worked the room. People are like, oh, so what do you ladies do? She's like, oh, I'm a singer and this is my publicist. Oh, okay, great. And you saw just automatically how people would react to you. And that was like the birth of Candice Nicole Public Relations. And so I did not have a blueprint of exactly how to start my business. I'm not going to say that you should just up and start a business. Absolutely not. However, I would not do it any other way for me because that is how I did find my footing and exactly how I needed to operate, my business. And here we are today, nine years in. It's a lot of hard work, word of mouth. Of course, we didn't even have Instagram or.
Yeah, that was the old school day. Like you had to just go out here and get it.
No, you know what it was? It was MySpace. I got my first big gig through MySpace because for some reason in my head, I said, before I, turn 25, I need to have like this big gig. I don't know why, but
what's a big gig for a PR person? Like,
well, it depends on who you're talking to. For me,
for you
at that time was working with celebrities.
Okay.
So of course I'm like, how am I going to make this happen? And, of course, I guess I put my information on MySpace about what I did. This woman by the name of Carla Truitt, who I would probably say she's probably one of my first mentors. She's based in the DC area. She messaged me and said, hey, she said, I just saw your profile. I want you to handle the PR for R&B Live DC. And I was like, whoa, what? And that was like my first time writing a press release outside of the classroom. And that was just like phenomenal. And I, through there, worked with Marsha Ambrosius, Howard Hewitt. We had the late great Chuck Brown perform at R&B Live DC, Donnell Jones, Case. I mean, it was amazing.
Oh man, even from that the snippet of that, there's so many jewels to pick out of that. And I guess a couple I wanted to speak on is one. And I preach it, and I can't preach enough. You started where you're at. You, like your friend, she was a singer. You said, hey, I'm your publicist. There was no, okay, I want to be the publicist. Let me reach out to all these big celebrities and try to make it that way. You said, no, we're going to go to this club. I'm going to be your publicist, and we just going to make it happen. And that is key. And the second key that I loved, it's just that the art of networking. And I want you to quickly talk on it real quick, because I know I can preach on it all day. But when you're working the room, and how like say, okay, you went to a spot with your client, and there's a lot of people in the room you don't know. What are the first three things you do?
Well, first, I know for me, when I walk into a space and like say I don't know anyone, I start to just look around the room. And sometimes you can pick up on the people because sometimes you don't want to waste your time of speaking to anyone, right? No one likes their time to be wasted. So for me, I kind of look over the room. I see who's talking to who looks like they're kind of really engaged in the conversation. By the time, if I already decided to go, I may know kind of who is kind of hosting the event. So I want to know who is talking to them. Who are they talking to? So then I observe a lot, basically. I observe before I go in and introduce myself.
Gotcha. So
then you just decide who you want to network with. I know people are looking for like this sort of like a blueprint of networking. But I know what has worked for me is observing individuals. And sometimes you have to observe the people who may be kind of in the corner, kind of to themselves, where they're also observing too. and then, approach them. And then usually those are the people and you're like, wow, I'm so glad I approached them and introduced myself to them, because those are like the movers and the shakers. Because I look at it that when you're networking, it's impossible to meet every single person in the room. So you have to, number one, go in there with the game plan. And if you do decide to go to a networking event and it's hosted by Treehouse Productions, do some homework on Treehouse Productions. See if you can find the pictures of the owners of who the host is going to be, right? So you already know, like, well, number one, I need to meet them because they put this together. Then I need to meet the host because they are hosting it. At the venue, maybe look to see who is the events person at the venue itself. Meet that person as well. Because those are like the key people that you do need to network with.
Yeah, and you say it like that. And if you could take it a step further, like any event nowadays with social media, there's usually hashtags. So you can look at hashtags and see, okay, who's attending what, and then do next level type of research, because there should never be a point. I mean, if somebody has an Eventbrite, a lot of times you can see who's going from that. And then once you get that, you can go online and Google, like, but even before I interviewed you, I kind of already knew the story about when you start off black and white celebrity photography. You just got to really take that next step on your own to do that research, to do your due diligence upon that. So that is, I love that. That's huge. And question, because I see on your bio and whatnot, you also have a lot of experience. I know, of course, as an entrepreneur, but also working and interning under some people. So could you explain to your audience, when you graduated, did you just start off full-time entrepreneur, or did you work as well?
Oh no, I definitely had a 9 to 5. My first job out of college was working at BET. I was in the traffic department. That was another situation where that quote that I said earlier with Oprah about having the courage, you get what you want, that you have the courage to ask for, is where I put it out in the universe for years, even when I was young, when in DC, because, you know, that's where BET is headquartered still, going down New York Avenue and looking at the glass building, because it is a glass building, and saying, one day I'm going to be in there. And then, you know, it worked that my auntie, you know, she was working there. She was the director at the time. I had a great friend, Anwar, who he graduated a year before me at Morgan. He was there. And then I also had my uncle's really good friend used to work in that same department. So it was a blessing that I did have people putting in, you know, great nuggets about me to the director. But that is something that I put out in the universe. I said, I don't know if I'm going to get into that building, but I'm going to be there. So yeah, that was my first job. Traffic department. For anyone that doesn't know about traffic, it's not like traffic with the cars. It's traffic as far as,
because I was like, BT had a traffic department? Like, what do you do that?
Right. Yeah, no, it's with the commercials.
Okay.
that you see on the TV. So I was a copy coordinator. So I worked with all of the advertising agencies. They sent over the creative that we needed to input into the system so the Coca-Cola commercial would air when it's supposed to air. So at the time, it was very nerve-wracking. I still to this day don't really watch TV the same as anyone else, because I know how commercials are supposed to air, if they're cut short or they start out a certain way that's looked upon as a discrepancy. And you have to worry about the client saying, I want my money back, or you have to do some free spots for me. It's a lot of different things. And
they go into it.
Working on the award shows, you have millions of dollars that you are in charge of, because the awards are, you know, that's a high paying show where some spots are like $200,000.
Yeah, so they're like, oh my good, hey, every second counts. So
yes, literally it does. So yeah, so that was my first job. So yeah, no, I did not start out as an entrepreneur. I didn't even think at that time, actually, when I started the business, if I even knew, right, that I could do this full time. I don't even think that was on my radar, actually.
So you were working while you were working.
Yes, and that was a hustle, as I'm doing my 40 hours a week, you know, Monday through Friday. Now I was doing data entry, and I was working off of 2 computer screens. So I was able to still kind of like work throughout the day on my on my PR business. But you know, you have to look at it. I was doing like my 40 hours a week. And then going home or leaving there, bringing my clothes to work and changing, and then going to events, and then getting home at 11 midnight. And I still need to do client work. I still need to check, you know, business emails, and then getting up and doing it all over again.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a hustle. But you know what? If you're determined, you're passionate, you just do it and you don't think about it.
That's real. So what was the last straw, or what was the tipping point when you were in the game and you said, let me jump out and do this full time? And the reason I ask is a lot of people that are listening, they're probably at the verge. They got a corporate job, or they're teaching, or it's something that it's okay, they like to do, but they know they have a passion. They've been putting in a lot of time and effort, and they're scared to make the leap. So for you in your situation, what was the moment that you said, okay, I gotta do this on my own, and you started your own business full time?
I have to credit that to God, actually. And it's because I fully believe that it's because 2014 was like one of the, like, I guess you could say I kind of like hit rock bottom.
I was just gonna get there, but yo, go ahead, take us there. Take us there. What is that?
Okay.
Rock bottom? Yeah, this is where it gets exciting.
And I was 30, and I was just like, what in the world Like, I'm 30. I was excited about turning 30, and all this drama was going on, and I'm just like, this is stuff that should have happened like in my 20s. That's how I looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, why is this happening, as I turn 30? But you know what? He knocked me down of where it wasn't a negative knockdown. At the time, I thought it was, but now looking back, he was doing that for my own good. And I believe that he wanted me to make my way back to him, make my way back to faith. And it's because he was going to take me on this journey of becoming a full-time entrepreneur. And I'm a believer that you cannot be a full-time entrepreneur and not have faith. That doesn't make any sense to me, because every month, since I left my job at Fox, I've been able to pay my rent on time. Okay. And when I was in that 9 to 5, I was always late with my rent.
That's wow.
So you have to think about that. Mm-hmm. And that was money that I knew every 2 weeks was going to be in my account. Mm-hmm. Really, at like the 1201, it was in there. That Thursday, literally 1201 Friday, the money was in there. Mm-hmm. And I was always late for my rent. I got those notices on my doors. Mm-hmm. I'm a very open individual. I'm very transparent. I'm not trying to cookie cutter, anything. That's what it was. I had notices on my door. Sometimes I had to call the court and tell them what was going on. Mm-hmm. My mama was, trying to help me where she could. And I was in a job where every 2 weeks I had money. Mm-hmm. But it just was not adding up. Mm-hmm. And since leaving, I've been able to pay my rent on time. And so I guess the question was that what was like the last straw?
Yeah, like when
it was, well, number one, I really didn't care for my director. Mm-hmm. Thought she was a very bitter woman. And to be honest with you, I didn't know she had a issue with Black folks, or I don't know, she just was bitter. Mm-hmm. She just was bitter. And it was, for me, because I'm the bubbly, almost like flower child type of individual, it was a toxic situation for me. He was causing a lot of things to happen at my job, where basically he was shaking me up. Okay. Because he did not for once want me to get any type of comfortable in that position. Because again, I was doing data entry, and I could handle, kind of like my work, when my CNPR work, that is, when I was at my 9 to 5. Yeah. But he was just shaking some things up, putting some opportunities in my, in my path, where I'm like, man, I can't do it because I have to be at work. I already called out here, already left early here, so I could, handle this event or take care of this press tour. And I was crying. I was crying like every other day, because I was just like, this is not my life. This is not my end all. Like, God, please help me. I need to find
around 30, job. You're like, this is not it. I didn't sign up for this. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was at 30 when I had like the rock bottom and everything. Mm-hmm. And so what was that? 30, because I'm 32 now. 31 is when I left my job. So in the latter months, that's when I was like crying a lot. I was looking for a new job, and I wasn't getting the callbacks because they said I didn't have agency experience. So for anyone who is in PR, they understand that term. So agency experience is like, did you work, like Ketchum, Ogilvy, even MSL, Porter Novelli, 5WPR. They want you to have some agency experience. But I'm like, I don't have the experience. However, I've done the same things that your junior publicists have done, plus more. Mm-hmm. So that was frustrating. And just all signs were just pointing to, Candice, this is the time. This is the time. He started to bless me with clients who could afford my retainer fee, monthly retainer fee. And I even talked to my mommy about it. And she said, well, now she's a recruiter. So her whole model was like, never leave a job until you have another one, right?
Yeah, the parents, they don't want you just jumping out there with no boat.
Right. However, I was surprised. She said, I support you. She's always been my number one fan. But for her to actually say, like, I support you, knowing I now have my own apartment
In
And
DC.
and so she said, I support you. I've seen the struggle. I've seen what you've wanted to do throughout the years. And so I got her blessing. And at that point I said, look, I don't care what anybody else says. Really, I think only on one hand, like 5 people probably knew what I was doing. And then a lot of people didn't even know until I put up maybe a Foursquare type of thing of saying, this is my last day leaving Fox or whatever, this building. But only like 5 people knew what I was doing, because you can't tell everyone what you're doing, because especially with that, when you do want to take that step of leaving, as people look at it as a cushion of your 9 to 5, they're going to be, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about insurance? What are you going to do about the money? And it's all these questions that you're already asking yourself, and it doesn't help that someone else is asking you about it, because it's going to deter you on what you might have made up your mind. And then you talk to 3 other people, and then you're like, you know what? Nope, not going to do it. Maybe next year. And it's just, if not now, then when? I felt like if I did not do it, I was going to miss the boat for me. And that the momentum that I was feeling inside of me, the fire that I had inside of me was going to go out, was going to fizz out. So I had to do it. And it was June 5th. 2015, that I put in my 2 weeks notice. June 19th was my last day. And June 20th, which actually 8 years to that day, was the day that I started my business. Okay. 8 years ago in Love Nightclub is my first day as an official full-time entrepreneur. And I was on a plane to Atlanta.
Wow. That's a journey right there. 8 years hard work, and then you finally get a chance. So it was never, of course you had the idea, you've been working on it, but it took 8 years to be able to, and that's powerful in that. So, that story, I don't even have to unpack that. That's powerful in itself. And I do want to, before we get into the next round, I have 2 more questions I want to ask. What was that first year like in business? Because as an entrepreneur, that first year is so special for entrepreneurs, good and bad. Like, what was your first year like on your own? And I know you're still in it a little bit.
Yeah.
So what's the first 6 months been like?
Okay. So yeah, I'm still in it, and it's been so exciting. It's been super exciting. I don't know how else to explain it. I've never traveled so much, in my life. And especially like last week I was in LA, and then I was home for maybe like 24 hours. Then I was on a train going to New York City. I'm going to Tampa this weekend, Saturday. Then a week and a half later after that, I'll be going back to Florida, but to Orlando with Miss Black USA to Walt Disney World for the Dreamers Academy. And it's just been a whirlwind. I sit in on meetings or conference calls that I have during the day, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty awesome. I can set up a conference at 12:30 in the afternoon with someone.
Oh man, you're making me jealous right now, man.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing feeling. It's such a blessed feeling that I get up in the morning, and if I want to work from my bed, I can do that. If I want to pack up everything and walk around the corner to the local coffee shop, it's called Bump and Grind. They have free Wi-Fi, and work for a couple hours and have my hot chocolate and a croissant. I can do that. I can have a different office every other day if I wanted to. And it's an absolute blessing, and I don't take any of it for granted. And that's why I do talk about my faith a lot. And it's because it has been my faith. And even throughout, like the 6 months of being an entrepreneur, there have been times with other clients, I'm just like, oh man, do I keep them on? Like, what are you going to do? Or I don't know, for some reason you feel like you may be a little tight on a situation, but this check is coming in, this check is coming in, but you need the money right there. Of course, you do have extra things that do come up. Just like I went downstairs 2 days ago, and my car would not click over. Absolutely, completely dead. Okay. And I'm like, man, is it my battery again? because I just had that thing put in October. So I had to spend like 4 hours dealing with the whole debacle of them getting a tow truck to come down to my building, because we have a garage under my building. So they were asking me, well, what's the clearance? I don't know. You guys sent a tow truck like 3 months ago. Like,
you know, like, don't ask me. I'm paying you.
So, so you still, deal with these surprises, right? But it's life. And it's not always going to be perfect. You always have little things that are going to be thrown at you. But I actually do think sometimes that's the enemy, because they're going to test you what your reaction is going to be. Because I will tell you this. In October, when that happened to me, I absolutely freaked out. I was like, what? It was almost like a woe is me type of moment. Why is this happening? What am I going to do? I need my car. I need to get to these meetings and blah, 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 blah. And I totally just, I kind of wanked out. This time when it happened, I said, well, all right. I didn't even call Geico immediately. Got myself together, cooked myself some breakfast. And, I got myself straight. And I said, all right, I'll call them now. Call some people, say, hey, car won't start. We got to take this to a conference call. Can't meet you in person. We have to shift this over here. Totally fine, Candice. I just, want you good. Just let me know. And it was just my reaction of things. So it's going to be a bumpy road, naturally, when you do take that leap of faith. But let me tell you, you're just going to be proud of yourself that every day you get through that day, a successful day. You have to look at it. And everything of your progressing of your business, of you as an individual, whether you're a man or woman, because it does change you as an individual. And I've always said, even before became like a full-time entrepreneur, that I was always going to hustle. If I knew I was getting like $10,000 a month, right, from, my clients, I'm always going to hustle like I can't pay my bills the next month. You have to get yourself in that mentality. And some people don't understand that. It's too overwhelming for them. So being an entrepreneur is not for everybody. So I want to stress that to the listeners as well, actually, is that it's not for everyone. And that is completely fine. And I'm talking about being a full-time one. If you just, I can't even fathom just doing it full time, and maybe a client pulls out the last minute because something happened, that's fine. Stay, your 9 to 5 and then work on your balance with your side hustle. It may still be your passion, but it's kind of like your side hustle. You just have to work out the balance with that. But it's not for everybody. It's not for the weak. And it's because it is a serious hustle. Okay. My mind is always going. Sometimes I have to rest during the day because I'm always thinking what I can do for this client. Thinking about this new campaign that I have to start pushing out for this women's conference. Just everything, fashion, Indie Fashion Week is coming up. I need to secure some TV appearances for my client. So all of that is going on in my head. So you just constantly, you're on the go. So it's been a whirlwind experience. I would not trade it for the world. But it's not for everybody though. It's not. Yeah. It's not. It can be, you're basically, it's like 100+ hours a week. I keep late hours. Sometimes I'm up to 3-4 o'clock in the morning, doing work.
That's sickening, but that's, hey, this is the life you chose, and that is what it is. That's a part of your journey. It's a part of your story. And you gotta own it. So the last question is, if knowing what you know now, would you tell yourself anything different 5 years ago?
Well, I would say, maybe like on the financial side, like really do pay attention to having a savings account. But again, I don't think I would. And it's because I am who I am in this space right now, because I did have those hiccups. Yeah. I did have to deal with those snakes, and why I look at people a certain way when I first meet them. Because everyone has a motive, as you know, and you just have to look at people, differently, especially as a woman, as a Black woman in business, especially in entertainment. Yeah. Because your name is all that you have. Yeah. And people need to realize that. I've heard so many horror stories, and I'm proud to say you can't say that about me. And I worked hard for that. I'm like, no, anything. And because, when you go into clubs and you want to negotiate, the bar or getting the venue, sometimes they're looking at you like, oh, well, hey, sweetie. Nope. My name is Candice.
Yeah. Don't try to, don't. Yeah. I got you.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
So as we transition to the present day, great intro, and great, because that's always the meat of the podcast. But the present day, and this we're going to talk about present day and some how-tos real quick. But explain to our audience, what do you do now? Like, what does the day-to-day look like? Because I hear buzz terms like PR, but now I realize multimedia PR, there's a lot of difference. Because I had season 1, a friend of mine, Ashley Williams, she used to live in DC and work for USA Today and whatnot. She was in that field of journalism and mass communications. But so what is a day like? Okay, you work with a lot of different clients, you work in a lot of different industries right now. What does the day look like for you?
Okay. So yeah, no day is the same. But I actually love it that way. And, so I get up in the morning. It really depends. I don't even have a set time. I probably should be getting up like every day, like at 7:30 in the morning, but I admit I don't. Sometimes it's 8:30, 9 o'clock.
It is what it is. If you up till 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can do that.
Right. That's the thing. People are asking me, well, how do you get your sleep? Do you ever sleep? I'm like, please believe I get my sleep. Sometimes it might come during the day where I have to take a nap to kind of make up for the lost hours prior. But I definitely do get my sleep in. But my day is, so wake up whenever I wake up in the morning, really the latest, maybe like 9:30. And I turn over and I have 2 phones, and, I look at my notifications, Instagram and everything, and on my BlackBerry. Yes, I still have a BlackBerry. That is my baby right there. I check my email right there, and from my bed, and I see if there's anything really urgent that I need to respond to, either from my team of interns that I have or from a client. And then I open up my passion planner. I love planners. I adore my passion planner. My life is in my passion planner. And I see what I have coming up. Now, I also do look at my passion planner before I do go to sleep, because if I do have any, say, like conference calls in the morning, I really do need to make sure that I do have a cutoff time of staying up late, because I need to be on that conference call, say if it's at like 9 o'clock in the morning. So I, look in my passion planner again and, see what my day is going to be like. And then that's when I get on my laptop, go to my desk, go to my living room, get on my laptop, and just start really combing through everything. With certain clients, I do have certain clients that I will work on. Sometimes it is the balancing of the work. I actually still deciding if I should devote, let's say on a Monday, I'll work for these 2 clients where I'm just working on stuff for them. And then the next day it's, say, the other 3 clients. But really in PR, really it doesn't, I want to be able to do that, but it's just something where you are multitasking the entire day. And so that can be like tiresome. But that's really what my day is like. I try to have meetings in the afternoon, and I really don't like to do anything in the evening, because I need to have that open for any events or any spin classes that I take at Soul Cycle or Cycled for my workout, because that's very important to me. So a lot of my meetings are like in the morning and conference calls in the afternoon. I really try to have a lot of conference calls like on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And sometimes I could have like 4 hours worth of conference calls.
Good gosh.
Yeah, so it's just
that's the nature of the business, right?
Yeah, literally every day is different. Yeah, but I do love the days. Like, I think today I didn't have to leave the house. I didn't have to leave the house. And that's a great day for me, because that means I really can be like glued to my laptop and get this work pushed out in a timely manner. Because when you do have business, meetings on site, if it starts at 1 o'clock, depending on where it is, you have to leave your house at 12:30, get there at 1. It's probably going to be like a 2-hour meeting. So it takes you to 3 o'clock. Then, you get home about 3:34. And then you miss about like 4 hours of like being at your laptop, responding to the emails and getting them pushed out immediately. So it's just a balance, but no day is ever the same for me. But it's very, very exciting.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So how do you deal with the stress and the demands of the PR industry?
Oh, how do I deal with it? Let's see. I talk to my mommy multiple times a day. um How do I deal with it? Because Greg, to be honest with you, that is still something that I am still working on. Is being overwhelmed, because sometimes it's just going to happen, and that's why I say it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. Being a full-time entrepreneur is not for everyone, and being a publicist is not for everyone. Because you do have deadlines, and everybody wants your time, and you're just like, whoa, wait a minute. Candice needs some time to herself too. So that can be definitely a challenge. But I do, I love to get my nails done, female. So I love to get my nails done, my pedicures. So I get those like every 2 to 3 weeks. And it's just because my schedule sometimes is crazy. So that's time for myself. And I try, when I am, sitting in the chair, she's giving me my pedicure for those maybe 2 hours that I'm in the nail shop, that I try just to, if I am on my phone, it's just because I'm looking up things that I want to read. I'm not handling any business. I try just to have that time for myself. Even when I get my eyebrows done, I go see my esthetician. And even though it's like 15-minute service, that's time for me. Working out, even, I was still on my, my weight loss journey. Actually, I have still more weight that I want to lose. But I learned that when I started that journey, I said, oh, wow, this is actually a time where I can carve out for me, because you can't work out and have both of your phones on the floor with you. So, that was like an hour that I was doing something for me. And working out, it helps clear your head, open up your lungs, and just makes you feel a lot better about life. And you can make better decisions, I believe, after you work out. Pushes out a lot of the clutter. So that's how I deal with it. But there are still times where it does get overwhelming, and it actually is very lonely. And I know it may sound crazy, like lonely, but you're in entertainment. Everybody, and well, that's the thing. Everybody thinks they know you, and so sometimes it can just be lonely. You just want to be, in your space. I actually shared an article on Facebook yesterday about the extrovert introvert person. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's me. I'm very much an extrovert, but I'm an introvert as well. And it's because that's just the lifestyle that I live, where I have to be on all the time. I have to have my face on, but I live for the days where I can just relax and be in my PJs and just don't worry about anything.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs or anybody that's even in corporate, anybody that's really focused on being great at their task, it is kind of lonely at times, because, and with greatness requires a lot of focus and attention. And it's hard to focus when you're around everybody else and whatnot. So you spend a lot of time, like you said, doing emails, a lot of time working on your craft, working on your business, working on your job. So it does get kind of, and I'm glad that you're honest to be like, well, I don't have all the answers. I ain't even, I don't got all the answers. But of course, you lean on the Lord, you lean on your support circle, and just do the best you can. Like you said earlier in the podcast, just get through the day. Just get through the day. And every day is not going to be like that. You might have a whole week just like that, but just continue to get to it, and you never know what's going to come out. So I'm glad you were able to share that. Question about some actionable advice. So what would some actionable advice be for someone? And I'll start off with the college ranks for our college students just listening out there. Because I reached out, and I know a lot of college students in PR, and they say there's no opportunities. When somebody says something like that, says something like that, what would be some advice for you for that college student that feels as if, I got this major and nobody's hiring?
Because
I hear it all the time. I'm like,
So you mean no opportunities as in career wise,
Yeah.
like when they graduate,
Yeah,
or
like, yeah, or nobody's hiring. Like, I have this resume, I put in all this work, but nobody's hiring my job. Nobody's hiring me to work.
let's see. That's a tough one. However, I'll say this, and it's because I have a couple, maybe one, intern on my team where she actually graduated. No, actually, she's a graduate of Morgan State University. Communications concentration is PR, and she is doing a job that has nothing to do with media. However, that's, she graduated school and she needed a job. She had responsibilities. But she knew that she still does want to get into that media space and wants to work at a PR company. So she basically, humbled herself and she said, "I want to intern with you." So what that is doing, a lot of people are like, "Well, I graduated. I'm not a student anymore. I don't need to intern." Well, I guess, my answer is do you want to keep yourself relevant, right? Within your major. So she could have had the attitude, "Well, look, I put in my 4 years and you know what? It just is what it is. I'm just not, working in that space." But she has time at work where she can, work on the different projects that I have for her. So she's still getting that experience. It's an unpaid experience, but she is getting paid at this 9 to 5 over here. So I think a lot of the times people need to, and I'll just be honest with you, they need to humble themselves. And you really need to think about, is this what you really want? Because if someone graduates communication and they can't find a job and they just know by this date I need a job, I'm not going to say take any job, but take a job where, if you are at a computer, that's great, because that means you can kind of still search and do whatever you need to do to find those internships so you can stay relevant. So you can get that experience even more experience under your belt than you have in school. So I don't agree when I wish you could have saw my face where you said it was no opportunity. No opportunities.
That's how I be looking at it, like, bro, what you
because
mean?
It's very frustrating when I hear that, and it's because I've always been that person that if it's not there, I've created it. I literally have. If I see that there's not a certain event in the area, or I'm like, well, I'll just do it myself. Let's see who I can work with, who I can collaborate to make it happen. Where there's a void. So there is always opportunity. You have to go looking for it. It's not going to come magically out of the sky and just drop right into your lap. So don't look at it and don't be discouraged. I will say that. Don't be discouraged. And also, if you can't find a job at, say, that Porter Novelli, call up there and find someone who is the director. Get on LinkedIn, do your research, do the work, do the research, and say, "You know what? I applied, but they said I didn't have whatever it is the cause," and just say, "But I would love to volunteer. I would love to, if you have any events, I would love to be considered as a volunteer." Because why? You're going to be around that the other employees of that Porter Novelli. Get to know the director. Follow those like-minded individuals on social media.
Amen. Like, go look at the hashtag. Okay, I'm looking at you.
Yes,
I want to see who you're following, who you're interacting with, and then I'm liking everything. I'm going in. I'm sliding in DMs. Why are we just sliding in DMs with relationships? We need to slide in DMs to get jobs.
So there's always, and I say all that, there's always opportunity.
And you hit on that.
There's always opportunity. You make a way for yourself. If this is what you truly want to do, whatever industry it is, anybody who wants to get in hospitality or whatever it is, you make that road for you, and it will happen.
Yeah. And I think you are a testament to that, because for all those say there's no opportunity, you know how many artists, musicians, speakers, or anybody out there that are trying to get more exposure? Like, you can go online, there's so many trying to get more exposure that they don't know what PR is, they don't know how to do it, and you walking around saying, "I have no opportunity." Like, how many, especially for those that go to HBCUs, how many rappers on campus, right? or how many people you know that's making music, and honestly, PR is bigger than that. Even you can be PR for your professors or trying to work on or PR for campus activities. Like there's so many opportunities right there.
I'm so glad you actually brought that up, because that's the thing. I know that you know what's going on in campus, all the football games or whatever. Go to the media, to the promotions, and say, well, guys, can I volunteer? What can I do? And that's why I said people have to humble themselves and not always look for the money. Don't ever chase the money.
You hit it.
I know that sounds crazy, right? Because everybody's like, wait a minute, I want to make money. Don't chase the money. You keep doing what you're doing, keep your head down, stay focused, work hard, and that money is going to be chasing you.
Amen. On that note, before we end up this round, when you first started off, how did you market your services? Because that's a big thing for business. You know how the industry is. You know how just entrepreneurship is in itself. Like, how did you go out booking or getting your first paid clients?
Let's see. Well, I started on MySpace, and of course, someone told me about Twitter. So then, I said, well, my company is Candice Nicole Public Relations, so we'll call it Candice Nicole PR. So I started with that branding right there. So everything became Candice Nicole PR. I'm trying to. I think I met the guy who did my first website on Twitter. I think I consider him one of my OG followers. And he put together my my website was my old logo and everything. And I think I just actually Googled of what a PR website should look like. I looked at some other small like boutique firms, and that's the thing. If you want to start like a boutique firm, you look at like businesses, right? Just like if you want to become this amazing R&B singer, you're going to look up other amazing R&B singers. You're going to want to be around those like-minded individuals, and not just in the national space, but in the local space as well. So I did my research and I sent it to him, and of course he made my website. But then of course I talked about my services on Facebook. What else? I did a lot of free work, and let me say this: I did a lot of free work for maybe like a year and a half.
Oh, you did it for a year and a half?
Yeah, I think like a year and a half of like not getting paid. And that was fine because, by the year and a half, everybody in this area knew who I was. Because they would see the work that I was doing for my clients.
Dominating the niche.
Yeah. So, and that's why like to this day, when people think about like music PR, they go to me first. I'm not saying that to toot my own horn, but that's what I set out to do. And that's what I did. I wanted to dominate this industry, especially in the African-American community. I was the go-to person. You have to go through Candice, CNPR, if you need anything, entertainment, that's what, and I'm still operating in that space. I want to become that hub where everybody like comes through me or reaches out to me to be on a host committee or just even advice or, hey, what about the venues in the area? I wanted to be that individual. So that's how I started to market my services. And I just think, as that year and a half, I said, okay, I know what I'm doing. I know I've been able to, produce these results for my clients. And then I just came up with the fee. I had to research that as well. But then I had to keep in mind, I'm only like a year and a half in, so I can't quote somebody like $3,500, $5,000 a month because I'm still a newbie, and of course I still had my 9 to 5. So I always kept that in mind too. But then I just did it. And it didn't matter if I didn't have any clients for like a while. I wasn't going to be doing any other free work. But I decided, I got to that point where I said, okay, I have this. What is it? I have all these placements over here online, or I got this client on this TV show. I'm good. I have the proof that if you work with me, I produce results. And that's what it was. So yeah, you will have to put in, free work. And a lot of people don't agree with that, but you have to, because I'm not just going to hire anybody just and not knowing what you can do. Yeah. So you have to prove yourself.
Yeah, no, you hit it. And plus, honestly, that year and a half, it helped you refine your craft. And yeah, I know you're still refined to this day, but you didn't share this quote, but I really think it's important to be a lifelong learner, because I know you talked about it earlier, but that lifelong learning piece is so key. Like 4 years, so what? Degree don't matter. Lifelong learner. I mean, you have some.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a whole nother podcast for a whole nother day. But yeah. In the last,
so everyone listening in, what Greg is talking about is actually shared a quote that I always say when I speak to college students: is always remain a student. And I said something to someone yesterday. I'm like, oh, I just learned something new. You learn something new every day. You do. When you think about it, you do. Whether you learn about a new show, a new article that they have out, you learn something new every day. But in whatever your industry is, you have to remain a student. Don't ever think that you know everything. Don't ever think that you know everything, because that will be your downfall. I will tell you that. When you start to walk around like you know everything under the sun about the tech world and everything under the sun about PR, marketing, advertising, that will be your downfall, because that means you are not tuned in to all of the new folks that are coming into your industry. Why? Because you think you know everything. I don't need to learn that. I know everything already, but you don't, because it's always evolving. And that's the thing. I do that all the time with my company. I'm just always trying to freshen it up. What other app do I need to download on my phone, or what other website do I need to start looking at? What other events do I need to start going to? Because I need to get my face into the younger folks that are right out of college. Because why? I want them to look at me. Yeah. And I want them to come to me for that advice. So you always have to remain a student in this thing called life.
3 quick questions. So the first one is, what's next for you in 2016?
I definitely would say a lot more traveling for my clients, for any events. The sky is the limit. You know, I did my vision board for 6 months, and really it was just about really quotes, things that I, need to look at. I didn't want to overwhelm myself by doing a vision board for an entire year, because by June, my vision, could possibly change of what I want for myself and for my business. And 2016, I feel great by saying traveling and adding more. I would say maybe like a mini staff. I have, interns, but I would love to bring on maybe like 1 or 2 people that would be on payroll. Of course, it would depend on, the clients that I bring in. But definitely just continuing to build the brand really with CMPR.
Yeah, and create that whole agency movement. So I'm with it. Who do you look up to? Like who, or do you have any mentors, and who do you look up to? Because I know I get a lot of very, very successful people at an early age on this episode, and it's like, who do you look up to?
Who do I look? Okay, so in general, or do you mean like in the business?
In general.
Well, my mommy. I look up to her. She is a phenomenal woman, and if I become half the woman that she is, I will be satisfied. And it's because she sacrificed a lot. That is how I learned about hard work and being resilient and not taking no for the first answer. Doing your research was from my mom. She was a single parent. She had me at a young age at 25, was divorced at like 27. Was a single parent, and she made do. I had any and everything that I wanted, probably more than what I needed at the time. And she provided for me, and she sacrificed so much. So I definitely look up to my mom for that. And that is also why I do work so hard, because I want to have those times where I can just call my mom and say, hey, just give me a month notice. I need you to take off this day at work. We're going to Miami. Like, I can't wait till I can do that for her. As far as business of who I look up to, her name is Karen Austin. She is known as the advertising diva. She has an advertising and marketing company based in DC. and she is phenomenal. She's been amazing to me of speaking, the truth upon my life and my business. Another one is Kat. She owns Lil So Productions, also known as LSP, which is a all woman run marketing company. She's very much a mentor. She's like a big sister to me. She's always kept it real, and she's always been a cheerleader of mine and me of hers, of course. But it's been such a blessing working with her. I'm trying to say, and also, you know what? It's heavily, it's females. They are based in DC, but I actually just put something on Facebook where I said Ryan Seacrest is a mentor in my head, and he's the first male that I actually admitted that I would say he's like a mentor in my head. That man is such a creative. He is everywhere, and he does it so swiftly.
With average talent.
I just, he has his own suit line. It's just so. He was on the carpet. Somebody said, "Hey, it's a great suit. Who's that by?" He opened up his suit jacket. It said Ryan Seacrest. Okay,
man, he doesn't get enough love and respect from from people, especially because he's. Look his bio. Look his Wikipedia up. Read a documentary on this guy, man. He's really the blueprint of a guy that with average talent, I will say his Taverns talent to me. Of course, I like Greg. Who are you to say that? But he don't jump off the page. But his work ethic and his way he just moved in his career, and the people he's followed, Dick Gregory, come on, man, just he's the blueprint, and I love how you mentioned him. He not black, but he getting it out here. He is, so that's I love that.
Yes, and that's another thing. I don't want people to think that you're African American, you have to have African American mentors, whether male or female. Absolutely not. Because at the end of the day, people say I don't see color. I don't see that. I see how this man is working. Okay, because I always speak about do the work. And he has done the work. He's continued to do the work. I was looking at him. What was it? Was it on the Grammys? I think it was on the Grammys. Yeah, it was on the Grammys. And Sunday. And that's when I looked at him. I said, you know what? You're like a mentor in my head. I said, because you asked me the question about how do you deal with being overwhelmed? Ask that question to him because he does so much. His radio show, executive producer on these reality shows and everything else under the sun that he probably does. He probably has a hotel somewhere and a whole bunch of other stuff that we don't even know about.
Let's go to the
No. It's fine. I'm glad that you brought that up because it's very frustrating for me because I'm very open with my knowledge. I don't see how it's just going to benefit me just staying in my head. So why not share it with you? That's why I love it. People want to talk to me about what I do. I get excited because I can tell you guys exactly what I do, what my day is. And this is not for everybody. I know people probably don't agree that I do share that with everybody. No, it's not for everybody. I know what it looks like, but they see the end result on anything like with an event. But you didn't get the phone call 2 hours ago where the host said, "Hey, I'm sick. I can't host." And I had to go in my phone and hit up all my people in radio and say, "Hey, can you host it?" And someone came through for me. That really happened to me years ago.
And it probably happens to you all the time. And
people don't see that. They just see the end result. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. But with the sharing, yes, people have to share. And don't be so, maybe they think, okay, let me just say this. Be secure. Learn how to be secure in your own relationships, business relationships. That it doesn't matter if you share the contact to the Kia over here, dealership where you got the car from, because you are solid in that space with that individual. I think a lot of people think, well, if I give the information to them, then they're going to take over and they're going to forget about me. No, just learn a little bit more about yourself and about your follow-up and how you keep your grass watered on that side, right? Because that's what things are. People, they want to hop to the next garden or whatever. Yeah, because you're not watering the one that you're in right now.
You hit on it. And then I'm gonna add one more thing. We're gonna get to the next one because recently, I'm a speaker. You might could put me in the motivational speaker box, but I'm a professional speaker. And a friend of mine, he just got a gig for $8,000 to do a 1-day training, 1-day gig, easy gig. So the old myself, when I was immature, I would have been hating. I'm like, bro, I'm better than him. How he getting this gig 8,000 for like a couple hours? But new me, mature me is like, yo, that's my boy. If he kill it, I love it. Because if he kill it, next year they don't have the same speakers. So it's like, oh, Greg, put me on. Boom. You got to think like that. If you have a friend that's in PR and she get a great client and she killing, she can only have but so many clients. And they're going to be like, well, who do you refer? And if you were that friend that was salty on the sidelines, not showing no love or not really investing, like when they tell you about the new client, if you really won't like excited, if you were hating, they're not going to reference you. So it's like when you see a person that's in your industry that is killing it, that's love. You would get excited. Reach out. How can you add value to them? Because guess what? At the end of the day, if you're that good, your bandwidth is only going to be but so good. So somebody's going to, there's going to be a time where they cannot handle that work. And if you're that person that was always positive, always supportive, you're going to get that work. And it ain't about you. Like, I mean, if you're winning, I'm winning. And I think once our society really gets that, like really believes it, everybody really
oh my goodness.
It.
Ooh, I'm sorry. You really hit it what you said, when you're winning, I'm winning. And it's because I have this, and I just have it on a digital space right now. It's actually called She Wins, I Win. Yeah, that's a whole nother, I guess, show as well. But basically that's what it is. When you see a woman winning, you're winning too. Like, why are you mad about that? Celebrate that woman and publicly celebrate her. I want women to start operating and publicly celebrating their girlfriends. You saw that she got that promotion on Facebook. So why are you sending her that text message? No one sees it. Publicly celebrate her. Really, it happens. Publicly put it on your page. Shout out to my girl Sarah. She got her promotion at BET or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, publicly celebrate her. That is a win for you. You might as well say you in the BET building too. She's winning and you are winning. So I love that you said that. That can go for anyone actually. But yeah, you have to support individuals. You have to.
I love it, man. See, we didn't hit the next gear in this interview, man. I love it. So, the last question this round, then we're going to get to the rapid fire round is, and I hate to go 100 to 0 real quick, but, how would you want to be remembered when it's all said and done?
That I was the woman that made it happen. Like, whatever it is. Yeah. Candice makes it happen. She always made it happen for me. Of course, if you want to go like more in depth, just a person that has a big heart. I love hard, and I always want to see the best in everyone. I think sometimes I always see more in individuals than they see of themselves. And that's when it gets frustrating for me, because I feel like I'm fighting for you more than you're fighting for your own self. But yeah, I just want to be remembered, like, within my industry as like, because that's the thing. Someone asked me, how long do I want to do PR? And I'm like, well, as long as I feel that I have a passion for it, that I have a burning for it. You know what I mean? And maybe 10 years and I'm like, all right, guys, I'm going to transition to this over here. I don't know. But I want folks to, when they think of CNPR, they were that boutique agency that made things happen. Like they did. So.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than you. So they're going to
none of this is about me. None of this is about me. It's not. And people, they get confused with that too. They think it's I, and yeah, you're the one doing the work, but it has nothing to do with you.
That's what
it's for everyone else. This work that I do is to inspire other women, right? You want to break it down more? Other Black women. I wanted to inspire my cousins that, wow, I have a cousin who's an entrepreneur. She runs her business like full time. I want them to talk about that in classes or in conversation to anyone. If they happen have a random conversation, oh yeah, well, my cousin owns her own business. I want them to be proud of that. So it's not about me. Yes, it's you that does the work. So everyone else around you, it's bigger than you. How are you going to have this ripple effect around the world? How are you going to touch other people? I guess that's my question as well. How are you going to touch other people?
So we're going to transition into the last round. It's a series where I ask 5 questions and you got rapid fire, rapid answer questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
What is the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Ooh, I know you said rapid. But
I know these are some deep ones. This got to go in the memory bank.
Well, I know this is kind of a little, never judge a book by its cover. I know you're like, oh, come on. But no, it's very true. It's very true. Excuse me. That is the best advice, because you cannot, especially in entertainment, anyone in entertainment, do not judge a book by its cover. You do not know who that person is standing next to you who has on the dumpy sweatsuit and different color hair. They may be the right-hand person to Jay-Z.
The right hand. The right hand. It's always the right hand. The right hand is the key to the key. You
just never know. If anything, if you see people that are really dressed down or kind of dressing funky, those are the people that you need to know in the industry, because they don't care what you think.
I love it. I love it. I love it. What is one of your personal habits that you can contribute to your success?
Just being a researcher, I guess, just naturally. I love to investigate. Maybe that's if I could say, that's just a personal thing about me. If someone tells me, no, you're just the wrong person, so I just need to go find the person who's going to tell me yes. I've just always been like that, especially if I believe in what I'm trying to pitch someone or even talk to someone about. I'm a researcher, but that's just me. That's wasn't anything like I learned. That's just me. I'm very inquisitive, and I want to know, what I need to know. So I'm going to do any and everything to get that answer, to get that yes.
By any means possible. Boom. What is your
legally, I would say.
Yeah. What is your favorite book and why?
Oh my goodness. Ooh, I have so many. I'm quite the bookworm.
You can give, if you got some deep books that's not like people that already read, I give you 3. You can give it 3 real quick.
Well, I'm actually reading one right now, but I already know it's going to be my favorite. And it's actually called The Highly Paid Expert. And it's turn your passion, skills, and talents into a lucrative career by becoming the go-to authority in your industry. It's written by Debbie Allen, not the actor singer. Debbie Allen, who is like the expert of experts, actually. So that's one book. Easily will become my favorite, because she's going to teach me of how to become that go-to person. And another one is Their Eyes Were Watching God. That is Zora Neale Hurston. Let's see. I read that probably like elementary, I want to say. And another favorite book of mine actually comes from like elementary school was, I think it's like 100 stars. 100 or under 100 stars, I want to say. Those are just great books for me. Their Eyes Are Watching God. That's a given. It's a beautiful story.
What inspires you and keeps you motivated?
My family. That definitely keeps me motivated, and it's because I want them to be proud of me at the end of the day. I'm, I've always been the one that went left, not in a bad way, in a good way. But my whole family, they're white collar, and like on my mom's side. So some of them didn't understand, or I'm not going to say they didn't support me, but they were like, "Well, Candice, what about the finance side of it?" And I knew they supported me, but I just knew they, had some legit concerns.
Yeah.
And it's really my family that motivates me, and what they inspire me as well. But I would say what inspires me is I guess other people that I look up to within the industry, I guess, because it's showing me that it is possible, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. That's what this podcast
so
is about.
Other publicists inspire me. The ones that have been doing this like 5 years, like full time, being an entrepreneur, that inspires me. You can tell me you've been doing it 3 years full time, and that inspires me because I know it's possible. Nicole Garner. She's based in Atlanta. I think she's on like her 11th year now of being like full-time entrepreneur, running her own PR company. So it's almost like the years before with my business don't matter, even though they do, but it's completely different. You're moving differently when you're doing it full time. Mm-hmm. So I'm back to kind of feeling like my company is new, and it's because I'm able to do it full time. But she's been doing it for like 11 years full time. That inspires me because that's telling me, Candice, it is possible.
I love that answer, man. I love that. The last question of this round before our last question. I know that sounds crazy, but we always have the end question we close every episode out with. But this one is, if you were the president of the United States, what is the first thing you would do? I know if you're throwing it's all.
Oh my goodness. Well, because I am a woman and I am a woman business owner, we're going to go to those bills about assisting women business owners. But you know what? I don't want to shut out the guys. So you know what? I would I would really want to focus on entrepreneurs in the United States. I still think there's not enough focus that goes to those individuals that keep a lot of things, going end of the day. A lot of people don't realize that sometimes the government, they contract these small businesses to do certain work for them. So they're very much part of just everyday life. So I would put focus on that, on our entrepreneurs and people who aspire to be an entrepreneur and finding that funding. That's a main thing of mine. The issue is funding, especially if you're operating businesses where you really don't have an ROI. So if anyone listening, an ROI is your return on investment. And operating a PR business, I truly don't have this ROI. I can tell you, well, if so-and-so comes to town, I can see if I can get you into their event. But I really don't have an ROI because I don't actually have like a product, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't have like the shoe line where I could say such and such, I'm going to sell it for this price point, and within like 12 months, I'll be able to pay you $75,000 if I'm able to sell it to this or whatever. Yeah. So I know a lot of people want to start businesses, but they don't even know where to get the funding from. So I guess being a little bit more transparent about that, which I think the government does need to learn how to push that out a little bit better in everyone's community, just not in the Black community. I would say that because I'm not going to even touch on the other political that's situations out there, because that's just something else that I don't even want to go there. But that would be me. That would be like my main thing is helping the, local business owners, in your, particular area.
Man, yep. I like that answer. And that's the end of that round. Our last question, because I call myself the culture change agent, and everybody that I bring on the show is a culture change agent in their own lane, their own niche. So if you could change one thing about society, most specifically our African American culture, what would it be and why?
If I could change one thing, I want African Americans to know that you do belong in that room. You do belong in that restaurant. And I say this because a lot of the times African Americans don't believe that they belong in that room that's filled with all these board members. And it's because I think it's because all they see are white Americans. They don't think they're not going to have a voice. African Americans are extremely smart, and we do have a voice. So I want them to just, go to those different networking events. I know we talked about networking before, but go to those different networking events. You want to go to a networking event where you don't know anyone, number one. Because if you're going to events and you know everyone, you are not networking with anyone new. That's the whole thing with networking. You want to network with new people. I would love, the African Americans to just, like I said, change that mindset that, well, I don't belong there. Maybe I shouldn't be here. Yes, you should. You belong there just like anyone else. You're educated. You've done the same things as they have done, in their career, to take the steps in their career that they have done, and you belong there as well. So I would love to really push for the African American community is to change your mindset.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's a lot more I can say with that. It's because I see it all the time. But really, it starts with the mindset. So you need to go in there knowing, like, no, I do belong in here. So what if you're the only Black person? You belong there just like anyone else. And you stand in your own truth about that as well.
I couldn't say it any better. So I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and thank you for on the behalf of my audience for giving us a lot of your time this evening.
No problem. It was great. Like I said, I love talking about what I do, but I also love I hope I inspire someone. I hope I said something throughout this interview that is going to inspire someone to take that leap, or to maybe start getting your plan together. Because I think you should have a plan. Don't do it like me. But
where can our audience find you at? Inquire about your services, ask questions, like where you at in social media, where you at on the web? Where can we find you at, Candice?
Well, everything is under at Candice Nicole PR, and that is Candice with an I. Some people try to spell it with an A. That is the wrong way. But no, Twitter and Instagram at Candice Nicole PR. Again, that's with an I. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/Candice Nicole Public Relations. And my website is CandiceNicolePR.com. My email address, please feel free to email me, put in the subject line that, you heard my interview on Greg's podcast. Excuse me. My email address is Candice, CANDICE, at CandiceNicolePR.com. And I'm here.
Oh man, so y'all got access. She done gave out the email address out here, so that's unprecedented. So thank you for that. So y'all have access. Any questions, any feedback, tell her you let us show, and definitely reach out. So like I said, I appreciate you, Black Girl Magic, Candice Nicole PR, Boss Diva, a DC, for giving me this time this evening. And I pray that you have an amazing night, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
All right. Thank you so much again, Greg. This was phenomenal. So thank you. I truly, truly appreciate you for asking me, but also creating this platform for these amazing Black millennials that we have in the world today.
Thank you so much for y'all tuning in. And like we always do it, I need you to do one thing. What is that one thing, America? That one thing, change the freaking culture. Good night.